right. Well, it was a mostly dry day, if not completely dry day throughout the entire state of South Carolina, and honestly, well deserved. Well deserved. We just went through a good amount of rainfall, but obviously the drought's still here. We still desperately want to see more. And so I think as we get more and more into this week, some of us may be pleased and some of us may not be pleased as much. We're going to talk about that with this week's forecast for tonight. We're going to talk about mostly dry conditions with only isolated showers possible tonight through Monday. Increasing moisture brings scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially as we get Monday into Tuesday. Typical summertime pattern, especially as you get later into the week. And continued warm and humid conditions possible as we go into this weekend. All of that we're going to go in and talk about. So if you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so for those daily forecast updates. Also hit the subscribe button. Helps me out. We're trying to get to that main goal of 800 subscribers, and right now we're at 744. So going on now and talking about what's currently going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Well, right now, absolutely nothing. We're looking nice and dry right now. No rainfall statewide. But if we scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., I mean, we have rainfall activity going on from Georgia to Alabama to Mississippi, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, even inside of Illinois and Minnesota. We also have some more rainfall with some severe weather going on in Nebraska, rainfall going on inside of Utah, some snowfall going on in Montana as well. But look at this. I was looking up to see what this purple was because I forgot what I combined it to or what I made it. But this is a severe thunderstorm watch, but it's a particularly dangerous situation. Why? Well, scattered large hail and isolated very large hail of up to 2 inches in diameter, a tornado or two is possible, and widespread damaging wind gusts and significant wind gusts of up to 100, yes, 100 miles per hour is likely up here in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. So, I mean, a lot of things going on here. A lot of stuff. A lot of bad storms going on up there in North Dakota and South Dakota. Very, very far from South Carolina. We have no threat from that at all. But, I mean, we have obviously our own stuff to worry about and our own stuff to talk about here. But up there, they're about to, some areas may see at least of up to 100 miles per hour in terms of wind gusts. That is a lot. Which is why they made it that PDS and kind of made it a bit more, kind of like a bit more prolific and a little bit more standoutish compared to a regular severe thunderstorm watch. But what's going on in terms of cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now seems to be covering almost the entire state. I mean, yes, we have clear spots here and there, but it looks like for the most part, most of us are included inside of cloud cover. Now, if we go and take a look at our cloud cover for the future, going and push this through into tonight, going into tomorrow, cloud cover activity again, staying mostly throughout the area, but clear spots going on here and there. And then as we move more and more going into Tuesday morning, going into Tuesday afternoon, cloud cover continuing to stay statewide. Now, as we go on and look at our current temperatures right now, we're talking about 76 Summerville, 77 in Charleston, Beaufort, 78 Orangeburg, 81 in Columbia, as well as 79 in Sumter, 75 in Georgetown, and 76 in Myrtle Beach, Conway, 80 in Hartsville, 78 in Lancaster, 78 York, and 77 in Spartanburg, 76 now, 76 in Greenville, as well as 77 in Clemson and Anderson. Now for our air quality, we are looking good, looking pretty good. Except for up there inside of the moderate areas. We're talking about the PD areas. We're talking about the upstate yellow moderate risk of air quality up there. So not the worst, but definitely not the best either. Just make sure that you're aware there and what's going on in terms of your air quality. Now, if we go and take a look at our low temperatures for tonight, 60s and 70s, 69, Spartanburg, 73 in Columbia, 71, Orangeburg, as well as 69 in Moncks Corner, 74 in Charleston, and 71 in Georgetown, 73 Myrtle Beach, and 70 in Barnwell, 71 in Orangeburg, as well as 71 in Aiken, 70 Greenwood, and Anderson. Now for our high temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 85 in Greenville, 83 Lawrence, 87 Newberry, 90 Columbia, 89 in Orangeburg, 93 in Moncks Corner, 86 in Charleston, and 92 in Georgetown, 89 in Myrtle Beach. Now for your rainfall for today, going into tomorrow, this goes all the way through into tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. We have 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch that goes on for places like Greenville, for Anderson, for Dillon, Cheraw, Walterboro. I mean, all of these areas are on 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch. And some other areas may even get up to around a half an inch of rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours or so. So a good amount of rainfall is definitely possible for some areas, but will it reach every area? No. It will not reach every area. You can see Columbia, Orangeburg, Charleston, may not even see a drop. SPC outlook for tonight. Thunderstorms are technically still possible tonight throughout the very far upstate areas, the western parts. But everybody else seems to be in the clear. Tomorrow, it expands to the entire state. Yes, the entire state has a risk of a thunderstorm tomorrow. But if I will say, even though it does say the entire state does have a risk of thunderstorms tomorrow, the ingredients are there. Does not mean everybody will get rainfall. And we just saw with the rain forecast here that not everyone is going to get rainfall. So just because you have this risk of thunderstorm activity here does not mean that you're guaranteed going to get that rainfall. Tuesday comes along. Tuesday, I think probably we have a higher chance of almost everybody seeing that rainfall, but you can definitely see thunderstorm activity still statewide is possible if you get that shower or if you get that downpour. Whatever happens, it's possible. Excessive rainfall is not expected for tonight. Tomorrow, we do have a little risk. We do have a little risk for Monday. Isolated flash flooding is up here for Anderson, from Clemson to Walhalla, Pickens. These areas, isolated flash flooding is possible, even down there near Abbeville. And then if we go on into Tuesday again, good amount of the upstate, from Greenville to Spartanburg, Boiling Springs, Pickens, Clemson, once again, Anderson, once again. These areas have isolated flash flooding for not Monday, but Tuesday. Then as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, things calm down. So we're not seeing too much there. Now, if we go and take a look at the crazy score for tonight, we're at a 6. We're at a 6 for tonight. Looking pretty good for tonight. And that is for nice, calm conditions. In my opinion, I do think that we should be probably a little bit higher than that. I think we definitely should be a little bit higher than that. And even though for the most part that, there's not going to be too much that does happen tonight, it is going to be a calm night in the most part. I think that we should be probably a high-end calm just because of the amount of cloud cover that's going to move through. But I can see, I guess, maybe why it would decide, okay, well, yeah, we need to be more inside of like the more middle of the calm category. But I think, me personally, because remember, I don't make these. These are made by, this is made by, well, it's automated. I guess you could say it's automated. Now, if we go and take a look at the models, we're going to start off here at around 9 o'clock p.m. And just as we go on and push this forward, as you move all the way through into around 12 o'clock in the morning or so, moving on into later tonight, going into tomorrow morning, rainfall activity going on in the upstate, you go all the way through to around 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to around 8 o'clock in the morning. We have more rainfall activity going on up there, but in the upstate. But in my opinion, I do believe that as we move more into the day, Monday going more into Tuesday, that's when we're going to start to see that rainfall start to get a lot more widespread. And we move more and more into Monday morning, going into Monday afternoon. There we go. We finally start to see that shower activity. We finally start to see that thunderstorm activity going on over here inside of the state. It's Monday afternoon. We go over into Monday evening. We still are seeing showers and storms. And then as we move more and more into Tuesday, going into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, look at that morning rainfall, that morning convection on Tuesday in the upstate. Seeing a good amount of rainfall Tuesday morning in the upstate. And then as we move into the later morning hours, going into the afternoon, Thunderstorm City back again for the upstate and for the Midland area. So we definitely will see thunderstorm activity making a return. We will see rainfall making a return, and our dry period is over. So when I said last week, definitely make sure you go on and get your outdoor activities done, I wasn't playing. was not playing at all. That was 100%. I was 100% serious about that. Because now we're starting to get more rainfall back into the mix. And, not only just rainfall, but thunderstorm activity as we move all the way into Tuesday afternoon. Now, what about for this week? What about for the week? Before we go over and talk about the long-term future, what about for the week? We're going to start off here Tuesday, back where we just started at 2 p.m. We move over into Tuesday night, not too much, going into Wednesday, moving into Thursday. We see a good amount of rainfall. I mean, some areas could get a good amount, some areas may not see very much, and that's the whole point and the whole purpose of summer. I mean, we see summer thunderstorms all the time to where it rains in one part of the town and doesn't rain in the other part. We've seen that multiple times. So I do think that we will continue to kind of see that as we go more and more into the rest of the week. Now, how much rainfall are we expected to see as we move throughout the next 7 days? Well, if we go and take a look at the southeast, we go and take a look at the CPC, and we move over into the 168-hour forecast, it doesn't say much, and it's kind of splotchy. I mean, kind of what I was just saying. Kind of splotchy. I mean, you see some areas around an inch, maybe even up to 2 inches in some spots, but then you see some other areas like Myrtle Beach, 1/10 of an inch, Charleston, 2/10, Columbia, 6/10, going up there in the upstate, 7/10. So kind of splotchy rainfall due to all just this isolated, scattered shower and storm activity, and that's, like I said, that's the summer pattern. That's the summer pattern. So, when I said yesterday, or I think it was this morning, I said, we're starting to feel that Carolina summer get back into effect. This is what I'm talking about right here. Now, as we go on and take a look back at our temperatures real quick, I'm going to take a look at that real quick. And just as we go on and progress throughout the week, which this is not what I want this over here. We go on to take a look at the temperature anomalies as we move more and more throughout the week. It seems like that we're going to continue to kind of just be in the middle. I mean, you see times where, it's below average in parts of the state and then also warmer than average in other parts of the state. And it looks like that could be the case here. Even as we move into Thursday, going into Friday, we see more warmer conditions, around 15 degrees above average as we move more and more into Friday, going into Saturday. So it seems like the later we move throughout the week, the warmer and the more consistently warm it tries to get. But cooler temperatures definitely will be trying to make its presence known as we move more and more into Tuesday. Now, as we go on and take a look at our temperature anomalies and our precipitation anomalies for the week, temperature-wise, we're looking like we're going to have an above-average temperature week, so most of the week will be above average. And then as we move into precipitation, kind of half and half. I mean, you see the western half of the state potentially being more above average in terms of precipitation, but the eastern half being more below average. And so that kind of coincides with what I was just talking about, because look at the upstate compared to over here in the eastern half. Yeah, you see good little splotches going in here and there throughout parts of the state, but the western half looks a lot more concentrated and just a lot more averagely almost, if that makes sense. Like, it looks a lot more consistent on one side, to where the eastern side, it looks a lot more just all over the place, not really knowing what's going to happen. And I mean, that's summer in general. We don't know exactly where those showers and storms are going to take place. Just because, especially in summertime. I mean, really, it could be in any season, but really in summertime, because that's where it gets the most confusing at. But for the most part, for the week, for this week, the week of June the 7th going into June the 13th, it does look like an above temperature week, but precipitation, it could be split. So wherever you are, that's really going to matter. And yes, we do have a little area in the middle that's more just near normal. That goes from the Tri-County up all the way through just to the east. Almost looks like right near Rock Hill. So now if we go on and take a look at our future past this week. So we're going to go past this week. And if we go all the way through Saturday going into Sunday of next week, going into Monday and Tuesday, we see more rainfall activity, more thunderstorm activity as we move into next week. And again, it doesn't really look the most beneficial I mean, it's obviously beneficial. Obviously, it is beneficial, but it doesn't look as widespread as we've seen in weeks past. And it looks like that continues all the way through next week, and then even as we move into the week after, we may see something. One thing I will say is that little area of moisture that we were looking at, that low pressure that was bringing in that strong storm from the Gulf, is gone. You don't see it here anymore. And in fact, if we go in and take a look at the National Hurricane Center, they actually have no risk of anything throughout the next 7 days. So that's why I always go on and say, we wait for the officials, see what they say before we go, hollering that, oh, we have a hurricane that's coming in or anything like that. But they say no tropical cyclone activity is expected. So we're still gonna keep an eye on it. We're still gonna keep an eye on it. But for right now, I'm not seeing anything too concerning for us yet. But it is hurricane season, obviously, so you should still be prepared. You should still be getting those hurricane plans in place and done with. So now going on and taking a look at what's going on in terms of our precipitation for the next 300 to 400 hours. Looks like for the most part, according to the GEFS, that we're actually going to be around 2.7, if not higher, around 4, 4.2, 4.5, maybe even higher in some spots. So it could get pretty active as we move throughout the next 300 to 400 hours. And honestly, for a lot of areas, because according to the drought, we have a lot of D1s, we even have a D0. If we get a lot of that rainfall in that D1 and that D0 area, we could be talking about a lot of the drought going away, and maybe even a good amount of the D0 going away, which means no dry conditions. I mean, for the first time in what has seemed like forever, that could be going away. But obviously, we're always going to be going, rooting for that rainfall for where we need it the most. And obviously, that D3 area that goes from the low country over into the Grand Strand, those areas need it the most right now compared to everybody else. But obviously, everybody needs the rainfall, and we're all going to be rooting for everybody to get a good amount of rainfall. Now, according to the European model, again, this is what the GEFS looks like. The European kind of shows a more conservative, more not so much rainfall aspect of it. It shows around 2 inches to around maybe even less in some spots. So if this one happened, wouldn't really be too much and wouldn't really be anything to jump around for. I mean, 2 inches of rain over the next 360 hours, that's like all the way into Monday the 22nd. So that's around, let me think, so that's around 2 inches, and then that's 15 days. I mean, that's 0.13 inches of rain per day on average. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. Now, if we want to take a look at our temperatures for the future, so past this week going into next week, we see more warmer temperatures moving in as we move later into the week next week. But don't worry, cooler air will be here trying to greet it as well, bringing that more unsettling, cooler temperatures in the fray, which is why at the beginning of the month when we said it was going to be kind of an equal average between cooler air and warmer air during the month of June, this is what I'm talking about. Continued battle between both air masses, cooler and warmer, and especially once you go from daytime to nighttime. Now, in terms of temperatures, as you move throughout the next 300, 400 hours and not looking at anomalies, actual temperatures, we're seeing a lot of 80s coming in. We're seeing some 90s coming in as we move later into the week this week. 90s coming in to play. And, not obviously, because we're seeing 90s already. But as we move more and more into the midweek, we may be starting to see those temperatures drop down a little bit. But we're seeing higher 90s. That's the main aspect point. Higher 90s. So we're seeing around 97, 98, 99 potentially as we move later into the week, going into the weekend, next weekend. So it could get pretty hot pretty quickly. And even as we move over, you're around 91 going all the way to 92, 93 as we move later and later into the month, which makes sense. I mean, we're in June now. As we move later throughout June, we're definitely going to start seeing some 100s trying to pop up at least. And if we go in and take a look at the GEFS, which is the actual ensemble, there we go, right here. So we're still just seeing more of those 90s coming into play as we move more and more into pretty much the rest of June. So these, both kind of agree with each other here. Showing a more warmer side, showing a bit more of a warmer side, but showing some cool downs here and there. Definitely still showing some cool downs here and there. But that's all that I have to say here in terms of the week forecast, in terms of the long-term future forecast, in terms of anything. We pretty much have crossed everything off. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with my Aunt Lula. She was here first tonight. She says, "Good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a blessed Sunday." Well, thank you so much for that. I sure did. My Nana says, "Hello, Jay and all." Hello to you. My Aunt Lula says, "Today in Georgetown, we had a beautiful sunny day." Mr. Anthony says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula says, "Today in Georgetown, our high was around 88. Currently, it's around 77. Then my Nana says, "I think the heat got to me today." Well, currently, right now, first off, thank you everybody who put in their weather reports for where they are. Currently at my house, it's around 78. The high temperature for today, though, was 89. 89 at my house. My Aunt Lewis says, "We sure can use some rain. My garden is crying out for some rainwater." And then Trail says, "Joyful Sunday evening." Well, same thing to you. And that's all that I can see here throughout the entire chat. Not a whole lot tonight. So, if that's all I have to say here or see here for the chat, we're going to go on and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. But before we get to that, top fan of the night for tonight. What's going to be the question? Let's see who's going to get it correct for tonight. And honestly, let's see. I'm going to throw a layup here. Very easy one. Very, very easy one. What 2 days did I have earlier that I said were going to be completely, that like everybody had a chance for a thunderstorm? What were the 2 days? Very easy question. Very, very easy. If you were here earlier, which I mean, seemed like most of us was. So, whoever gets that correct goes on and becomes top fan of the night for tonight. Again, what 2 days, was the entire state of South Carolina covered in a chance for a thunderstorm? So let's go on and talk about these 4 areas real quick. We'll go back to that in just a moment. We're going to talk about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their forecast for them. So starting off with San Antonio first, we have low temperatures tonight at 77, high temperature for tomorrow at 90, and then low temperatures tomorrow night, 76. Now, in terms of your precipitation, that's not expected at this time, so you don't have to worry about that. In terms of severe weather, I read that wrong. Tomorrow, you do have a slight chance of thunderstorms. So tonight and tomorrow night, you don't have a risk for any sort of precipitation. But tomorrow, during the day, you have a risk of some thunderstorms going on. But severe weather-wise, seems like you're good. Excessive rainfall. Looks like you're good for today, tomorrow. It looks like you're good in general. Looks like you're good. Now, for your future, it does seem like that you will go on and you will have temperatures still staying in the 90s, even as you move more and more into next week, going into next weekend. Now, in terms of rainfall seems to be staying around 20% tomorrow, and then once as you move all the way through Tuesday, going into Wednesday, going into Thursday, I mean, it's still staying dry. Friday going into Saturday comes in, and you have a 20% chance of showers and storms those 2 days too. So, honestly, the majority of the week for you is staying dry. The majority of the week is, and we kind of talked about that earlier. Now, as we go and take a look at Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 73, high temperature for tomorrow at 94, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 63. No precipitation is expected at this time, but as you move into your severe weather and excessive rainfall, that's not expected either. So, in terms of your future, it does look like it's going to continue to get hot. I mean, we're talking about 90s all the way throughout the week, but one day that I am very interested in particular, is Thursday. Thursday, the high temperature on Thursday is 98 degrees, and that's not it. Friday, your high temperature on Friday is 100 degrees. 100 degrees over there in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's going to be hot. I mean, like blazing, blazing, blazing hot. I mean, right now as we speak in Raleigh, it's still 87 degrees. I mean, that's a huge contrast. And one thing that kind of amazes me is the fact that kind of like the difference in terms of temperatures between the two states. You go over here where I am in the low country of South Carolina, it's around 78 right now. And where you are, it's 87. My high temperature over here in Somerville on Thursday, it's around, let me see if I can go in and get it real quick. On Thursday, it's around 93. Around 93 or so. So, I mean, not too far off. I mean, it's not like it's like 10, 15 degrees. But, I mean, in terms of current temperatures, it definitely is. I mean, you still are very close to 90 right now. Now, as we go on and move on, past there, though, you will get more rain chances, especially as you move into next weekend. Saturday, Sunday, still staying around 40, 50% chance of rainfall. Before we move on to Philadelphia, let's see what's going on in terms of the top fan questions. And I do see the answer. It is, let me see if I can go and get my drum roll real quick. No, that's the audience clapping. Get my drum roll real quick and announce who won it for tonight. It was my Aunt Lula. She says it was Monday and Tuesday. Yes, tomorrow, and Tuesday. Those are the 2 days for thunderstorm activity. Let's give her a round of applause for winning for tonight. So congratulations to you. You are the top fan of the night for tonight. Now, as we move on, I'm going into Philadelphia. We'll talk about honorable mentions in a moment. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 65, high temperature tomorrow at 82, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 57. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow, just in general. Next chance of precipitation is on Wednesday. Severe weather, excessive rainfall is not expected at this time, at least severe weather. Let me check excessive rainfall. Nope, you're good. And then if we go on and take a look at your future, it seems like you're going to continue to kind of just be up into the 80s. I mean, even though you're going to have low temperatures on Monday night around 57, your high temperatures are going to be up into the 80s. And by Thursday, you're going to be at 96, Friday 97. So it's going to be hot for a lot of us as we get into next week Friday. Technically this week Friday. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 74, high temperature for tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 74. No precipitation is expected at this time. Next chance of that will be later this week on Thursday, and then no severe weather or excessive rainfall. But once you get to Thursday, watch Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have a chance of rainfall all 4 of those days. It will also be a bit breezy as you get into tomorrow, and those heat index values will be up to around 102. So heat index values of up to 102 degrees, wind gust of up to around 25, 30 miles per hour tomorrow. And that's all that I can see here throughout the entire 4 areas. So what's going on right now? In terms of the entire United States, well, it seems like severe thunderstorms with a significant wind threat will continue through tonight across the northern plains. Wind gusts of 60 to 100 miles per hour are possible. Heavy rainfall will continue through tonight from Oklahoma into Missouri and in the Tennessee Valley through Monday. Critical fire weather conditions continue throughout the Southwest through Tuesday. So all of that going on. We have some frost coming in parts of northern Idaho, northwestern Montana, northern Washington. Frost coming in there. And honestly, that's about it. It's going to continue to get hot for a lot of us, and watch as we get towards the end of the week. It's really going to start getting hot. I mean, where we might even be up into the upper 90s later this week. And that's all that I have to say here for tonight. Honorable mentions. Let's see. My Nana was there, and then also, since my Aunt Shirley did answer, we're going to give you 2 the honorable mentions for tonight. Remember, if you want to be a top fan, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, being a subscriber, and obviously paying attention, because if you're not paying attention, when the question comes around, it could be any question. You may get a question that maybe you walked out the room for a moment and you missed it. So you always have to be paying attention. That, and then also, you also have to, be active, because sometimes I may pull from people saying, like, see if somebody sent in a weather picture for today. Nobody sent one in today that I know of, when I checked before the stream. But if somebody, sent one in, I could have been like, let's just go in and check and see if somebody did. Or I can check and see if somebody went on and, I don't know, whoever I think maybe brought in the best weather update. It doesn't matter. It could be absolutely anything. So you have to be active. Have to be active. But that's all. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for your Monday morning forecast update. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave. Subscribe, hit the like button, share with all the people that you know. And I'll be back tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening for your Monday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday, and hopefully we all have a fantastic start to the week.